Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome back to the Resonant Rise. Let's get caught up. I just successfully recorded 8 minutes of a 30-minute episode. So this one will be a lot quicker, shorter. It's been a day, we'll just put it that way. I made the Jaded Amaranthus because I'm going to need a bunch of dye for some purpose or other. I didn't really feel the need to automate it. I just come over here and blow my Horn of the Wild and put everything in a chest. I did finish the basic shape of the base, and this one was off by 2 blocks, so I had to tear it down and rebuild the whole thing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have the 4th corner come up to the surface here. I guess I'll figure that out at some point. But this is what we're working with right now. I can't decide if I want to put a wall right here to make this like a hallway. So you just kind of look through the glass and see the middle room here. Either way, we're going to have an elevator here, which will go down as many levels as we need. I'm thinking, there's going to be a wall right there, a wall right here. So I'll have plenty of room to run cables or conduits or whatever. And I figure I'll put some machines in the wall and some AE stuff in the wall and some inscribers in the wall. We'll get to this in just a minute. I was using the carpenter's blocks to figure out if I wanted to kind of shape this a little more. Here's what it looks like. It's somewhat spherical, I guess. So I was like, well, I'll do the carpenter's blocks and see what it looks like. And then a red creeper apparently didn't like it that much because he started throwing TNT everywhere. And if you can imagine the right half looking like a mirror image of the left half, that's what it'll look like. I wanted to do glass, like a window right there, kind of like that one. I can't find any glass that plays really nice with the carpenter's blocks, so I'll have to work that part out. I made a few drums of syngas because, let's see, we're out now. The reason is I'm making some octuple compressed cobblestone. I got 64 of these in here and a tier 3 RF Tools crafter, which will hold 8 recipes, which is just perfect. You gotta figure that the guy that made the mod said, hey, I'm gonna make 1 block that'll craft all this octuple compressed cobblestone. I don't want to break it because there's lava underneath, but if you hit it with a wrench and pick it up, it does remember the recipes. So, pretty awesome. Uses a little bit of power. The more recipes you're doing at a time, the more power it uses, but about 80 RF is the most I've ever seen it use. Very reasonable in my opinion. So I need to do some things on my own. I already activated my division sigil. I need to kill a few withers because I need the stars for some stuff. And I need to get started on AE, and then we'll think about quarrying or whatever. I made a bunch of deep storage units. It's the easy recipe, which doesn't require strong boxes or anything like that. So I went ahead and made a bunch of them because ender pearls are not a problem. I've got about 20 or 24 seeds planted upstairs, and I've got about 8 or 10 more in a chest. So this thing was giving me hell. I went ahead and I set this up with Steve's factory manager because it's the most compact way to do it. And I ran out of printed silicon. It does work. I'll show you that in just a second. Right now, I'm going to cut to a clip that I recorded before about my setup using only thermal expansion. So I was debating how to set up the inscribers. And I thought the whole point of this was to use new mods and try new things. So I did it all with this stuff called a fluctuating item duct, which is a new thermodynamics thing. It will carry items and power. So just for testing, I hooked up an energy cell down here, and all of these things get power and they get items. This is pretty bulky, and I had a couple of hiccups. I wanted to use one chest to feed everything. Well, sometimes item ducts get stuffed, if you remember that whole fiasco. So not everything just works seamlessly like it should, unless you make some retrievers and then everything bounces around. So this setup worked, but I feel like it takes up a little too much space. And for what it does, the time it took me to set it up, I could have programmed a factory manager and everything would have been okay. So I think we're going to use the factory manager, even though we have done that before. I'll meet you back in the other world. All right, we're back here. So I really liked just trying it with thermal expansion, but it just took up too much room and there were too many, variables. So what I've done here, I've got, just for now, an energy cell. At some point it'll either be a tesseract or we'll actually just run conduit over here. And leadstone seems to be enough for these. I did make the crystal growth chamber. I don't have any seeds. I guess I can make a couple right now. It charges them at about 1% every second or so. So I don't know. Hey, there's all. I was looking for this earlier. There's all my Enderium. I did make a sag mill, obviously. That is the only way I could find to get silicon. And this is not as fast as a pulverizer. Not by a long shot. So we'll just make a couple of seeds so we could see that happen. I'll get a little bit of sand so we can craft them. We'll make it an even number. So this machine replaces the crystal growth accelerators. It takes 6 of those to craft this. And as you can see, this is going up about 1% a second, maybe a little faster. So a minute and a half to grow these things in here. Notice it does not connect to the conduit like the inscribers do. It only connects to Fluix cable with an energy acceptor, which is expected. And this is not an AE2 item, it's an add-on, AE2 stuff. I need to see what else is in here. A pattern encoder. I don't know if that's the old one or not, or if it mimics the old one. I guess we'll make one of those just to see what it does. But look at this. We got some pure Certus now. So let's do this, and what I'll do, I'm going to need a bunch more silicon. The way I set this up, I use ender chests because at some point what I'll do is I'll put an interface on this one. This is the input, and I'll tell it when I need a processor, send a silicon, a redstone, and whatever kind of material to make the processor. So I've got a bunch of rules. I've got an input for everything and they output all in one shot to these 5 inscribers. These 2 are for silicon. These 3 are for the circuits. And this one puts them all together. Once again, my base is an even number, so I couldn't really work this out. Normally I like to have 3 for the silicon, 1 for each of these, and then 1 for the final product. So that's 9. But I can't really work that out. What I may end up doing is put a crystal growth accelerator like in the middle and then put 8 around it. That might look pretty cool. I don't know. I might have to get some Ender IO involved at that point, since this thing does take power. I'm going to need to access one side for power and to insert and export items. There is some sort of ME conduit. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I've seen people use it in streams, but I've never tried it, so I may try that just to see what's up once I get a system built. But for now, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to use whatever thermal expansion covers, or thermodynamics, or whatever the mod is now. Some of those covers, depending on what block I pick for the wall, so the only thing you'll see are the inscribers themselves. So we put everything in here. Let me get some redstone. It takes everything at once. The redstone gets put in here. This is kind of a buffer, and everything else gets put in the appropriate inscriber. You can see they're all working now, very slowly. And then the circuits and printed silicon get pulled out and put in this chest. And then from there, there's another row, probably this one. I don't know which one it is. Either way, one of them puts, it's set to put the redstone in the west, the silicon in the top, and either of the circuits in the bottom, or any of the circuits. So it's kind of a crapshoot which one it's going to put in there. Not to worry though, because as soon as I can make some acceleration cards, I'm definitely going to fill up this one with acceleration cards, and probably both of these, just to make the whole process faster. So that's what you missed. And like I said, eventually this will be connected to the AE system somewhere. I can put it anywhere. That's why I used it. This one is my default chest that everything gets sucked back into the AE system. So I'm not sure how Steve's Factory Manager likes it if you replace inventories after you've made rules. So I shouldn't have to touch this unless, like I said, I want to put the crystal growth chamber in the middle. I mean, I could even put a decorative block in the middle. That might work too. I'll probably go ahead and do that. It will be the same process. It'll just be probably one more inscriber for the silicon, and then one for each of the processors. I think that might work pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. I'll work that out. They do have a new thing in here. There's a copy. I haven't tried it, so I don't know. I don't know how well it works. I didn't really need it for this, but now if we look at this, we got RF inputs, outputs, conditions, all kinds of cool new stuff. So that is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to make a bunch of processors and some other things that I'm going to need. And in the next episode, we will set up an AE system. More than likely, it will be right here on this wall, since we've got power over here, though we still have tesseracts. Honestly, I'll probably use a tesseract to what am I picking up? I'll probably use the tesseract to transport power 8 blocks instead of running cable for now. So that's what I am up to. Once we get the AE, things will be a lot easier. I can hook up all the deep storage units, which I think I'm going to do all the storage on. I'm going to do the sub-network trick. Even though we can have a ton of channels, I'm going to do that, and I'll probably put them one level below. I'll have to make some room down there, obviously. And what'll happen is, let me just fly for a second. Probably this looks like a good level. I'll have the main AE system up there. And then you go down a level, and we'll have a wall of storage. So probably like, I don't know. I'm going to leave room for expansion on that one. And all the deep storage units will go down here. maybe, I mean, all the way around. Who knows? Who knows how big it'll get? I want to go nuts with stuff in this pack. As soon as I can run a quarry, I should be able to do the big reactor thing, and we should be set from there. We're just going to do a big reactor. What do you think about that? So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. We'll get to work in AE in the next episode. And then I hope it'll be a lot quicker and easier. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.